Now I am going to start with the physiology of muscle. Okay, we have discussed about the structure and anatomy of the muscle, how muscle form, what is the different component of muscle, and now we will discuss their use, how those structure play their role in the function of muscle. Before discussing the physiology of muscle or how muscle contract, first we should know something about what is the factor, what is the cause for muscle contraction, how muscle can contract, and from where order comes from. We all know muscle contract by getting stimulus from nerve. Muscle contract by getting stimulus from nerve. And that is what is that stimulus? Stimulus means some effort. There are two things. When you want any response, you should apply some type of stimulus. Stimulus means it is dependent on desired response. When you need great response, you should apply great stimulus. When you need high response, you should apply high stimulus. Suppose if you want to get good marks in exam, you should study more. So you can imagine, you can consider study as a stimulus and your result as a response. So for any response, the stimulus, it is dependent on stimulus. Any response is dependent on stimulus. So whenever you will apply any stimulus over either muscle or nerve, it will respond. Clear? But sometimes we can feel we are applying stimulus over nerve and we are getting response in muscle, because we cannot see the nerve. We cannot see the nerve, but we can see the muscle, because nerve is inside the body, but movement produced by muscle is visible. So whatever we see, we will feel that is the response. So if you want to see any response, you can apply any or required amount of threshold level of stimulus to the muscle or nerve. So how muscle respond? It is because of propagation of action potential. What is action potential? It is an electrical condition of a polarized sarcolemma. As we have discussed in muscle anatomy, the muscle cell is surrounded by a membrane. Whole muscle cell is surrounded by a membrane that is known as sarcolemma. And when you apply a desired amount of stimulus over sarcolemma, it will produce action potential. That is also known as depolarization. Depolarization. So I have told you in the previous lecture that there is a membrane. All structure, either muscle, nerve, all body cells are surrounded by a living membrane. If that membrane is present in muscle, is known as sarcolemma. If that membrane is present in nerve, is known as neurolemma, or in any other tissue, is known as plasma membrane. Clear? So whenever you will apply any stimulus of required level, optimal level, it will depolarize that cell membrane. And when you are talking about muscle cell, it is a sarcolemma. The outside face is positive while the inside face is negative. Suppose if you imagine this is a muscle membrane. This is I have told you muscle is a cylindrical long structure, and whole cylinder outer covering is made up of sarcolemma. And when you talk about sarcolemma, inside and outside, covered by membrane. Inside is mitochondria, many structures, but outside is whole covering is known as your sarcolemma. So when you apply any stimulus over there, what happens during resting stage? Outside of the membrane is more positive ions in comparison to inside. This is known as outside phase is positive, inside phase is negative. This difference is charge. This difference in charge is the resting membrane portion. During this stage, when you can see the diagram, in resting stage, there is more amount of Na plus outside and less amount of K plus inside, and because of this more and less, there is a difference across the membrane. Okay, you can see in the diagram ki you can see in the diagram कि outside the membrane there is more amount of Na plus, so it is positive, and inside less amount of K plus, so it is in comparison to outside it is negative. The proximal extracellular ion is Na plus, the predominant intracellular ion is K plus. As we have discussed, outside the sarcolemma there is dominancy of Na plus, whereas inside the sarcolemma there is dominancy of K plus, and this is the reason why there is potential difference, and this stage where more Na plus is outside the membrane or sarcolemma and less K plus are inside the membrane, that is inside the sarcolemma, is this condition is known as resting membrane potential. It means when we are keeping our muscle at rest, suppose we are not moving our part, we are not moving muscle, during rest condition we have some tone, we have some muscle is having some potential, and that potential at resting stage means when muscle is not contracting. What is resting stage? When your muscle is not contracting. When your muscle is not contracting, even at that time it has some amount of potential, and that potential is known as resting membrane potential. And the cause of resting membrane potential is because of more number of sodium ions outside the sarcolemma and less number of potassium ion inside the sarcolemma. When you talk this thing about nerve fibers or nerve membrane, that is neurolemma, more the amount of Na plus outside and less amount of K plus inside, that is for nerve membrane. Normal resting membrane potential of muscle is minus 90 millivolt, whereas normal resting potential membrane potential of nerve is minus 70 millivolt. The sarcolemma membrane is relatively permeable to both ions. What does it mean? It means from one end of the membrane is Na plus, other end K plus, but this membrane is permeable for both the ions. Na can come in, K plus can go out. So these two ions can travel across the both, from this side of membrane, from that side of membrane. Next is action potential. The axonal terminal of motor neuron releases acetylcholine and causes a patch of sarcolemma to become permeable to Na plus. I have told you what is membrane potential for sarcolemma. There should be more amount of Na plus outside and less amount of K plus inside. But when your neuron bring the signal at the end point where your nerve meets the muscle, nerve releases acetylcholine, and acetylcholine causes a patch of sarcolemma to become permeable to Na plus. It means, suppose if the length of sarcolemma is this and your nerve is coming like this, so when your nerve is coming, it will release acetylcholine, and because of release of acetylcholine from the nerve end, it can make some portion of membrane permeable. What is permeable? Permeability is a procedure. Permeability means we are flexible to allow you are inside, or the things can be flexible, or permeable mean it is porous. Suppose something is separated by a membrane, inside, outside. If it is not permeable, it will not allow to go inside material outside and not allow the outside material inside. But when it is permeable, things can go inside and outside, but it is selectively permeable, not completely. Like if you see the door, if you close the door, nothing can come in from outside and nothing can go out from inside. But if you see the net, this is the net of window, when it cannot allow everything to come in, but it can allow something to come in and it can allow something to go out. If you throw some smaller thing, it can go out easily. But if you will try to go out, larger thing should go out, it cannot, because this net is not permeable for larger things. Same as in muscle membrane or nerve membrane. When acetylcholine releases from your nerve fiber, it can make some portion of plasma membrane permeable for Na plus to come in and K plus to go out. In normal resting stage, Na plus cannot come in or K plus cannot go out. But when you apply any stimulus from nerve, that nerve releases acetylcholine at end, and acetylcholine can make the membrane of sarcolemma permeable for exchanging Na plus and K plus. It means your sodium potassium channel open. Channel open means कि sodium can come in, potassium can go out. Na enter the cell and resting potential is decreased. Normally, I have told you during the resting stage, outside Na more, inside K more. But because you have made or some stimulus by your nerve and acetylcholine made some changes in the permeability of that membrane, so your Na plus will come inside, so your inside become more positive in comparison to outside, and this less, because it will cause decrease in resting membrane potential. What is resting membrane potential? Outside is positive in comparison to inside. But when you apply stimulus, Na will come in, and because when Na will come in, it can bring the difference. Outside is negative in comparison to inside. So this process, when your RMP is getting down, RMP is going to get down. When it will get down? When outside Na will come in. And this process is known as depolarization. Polar mean end. Polar mean end. And you are change the polarity. Polarity mean charge difference. Polarity mean charge difference mean one side positive, other side negative. But what happened? Because of stimulus from nerve and acetylcholine, the things are reversed. Now, in this condition, inside is more positive and outside is less positive. It means you have completely changed the polarity. Polarity means presence of ion, either positive or negative. Positive polarity, negative polarity. If any ion has positive ion, has positive polarity. Negative ion, negative polarity. And here, by applying stimulus either by nerve or by acetylcholine, you are changing the permeability. So changing the permeability, and this type of change in sarcolemma is known as depolarization. And how we can produce depolarization? If we apply a strong stimulus. A strong stimulus means desired stimulus. Suppose for in exam, if you need 40 marks out of 100 to get pass, it means your threshold of passing is 40 marks. If you will get 39 marks, even after 39 marks, you will not get pass. Even if you get 0 marks, you will not get pass. You can see the difference. The person who got 0 marks and the person who got, or person who got 1 marks and person who got 39 marks. The difference between both is 39 times. One person got 1 marks, other person got 39 marks. But the university has fixed up a passing level is minimum 40. So what should be the threshold level? The person who will got 40 marks will achieve the threshold and declare pass. So passing is response, and getting 40 marks is threshold level. So as here, if any nerve or muscle needs this amount of threshold to get activated, this amount of stimulus to get activated, and if you apply any stimulus is lesser than that. Suppose if a muscle need 100 millivolt of intensity for 5 seconds to get stimulated, and even if you apply 99.9% of millivolt of stimulus, it will not get stimulated because it should achieve at least minimum threshold. I have given example, a person who got 39.9% marks and the desired marks is 40%, so he will not get pass. So for getting proper response, for getting depolarization, we should apply a required amount of threshold. So you can feel here, if you want to produce pain, even with this touch, you cannot produce pain. If you want to produce pain, you should apply some higher amount of threshold. This is threshold, mild, moderate, severe. When you are pressing severely, you will get pain. So by applying a strong stimulus, you can stimulate the receptors which are responding for transmission of pain. So I have told you कि suppose this is a nerve and whole is the sarcolemma membrane, and when your nerve brings signal, the acetylcholine can bring some changes in the permeability of some portion of membrane. It is depolarized. What is depolarization? Changing in permeability. But along with that, when your Na plus will come in, it will bring the outer signals also. Suppose when Na are entering from outside to inside, along with Na, the signals, whatever is brought through the nerve, will enter in the muscle, and it will travel all along the muscle through T tubules. When it travel all along the muscle through T tubules, where it go? It will depolarize. By the process of depolarization and what is repolarization? I have told you depolarization is bringing Na plus, bringing inside more positive in comparison to outside. So when you go, the signal will move from here to here. What happen? This area will again regain the same polarity. It means outside positive, inside negative. But where the signal travel, it will bring same changes, depolarization. So back is depolarization. By the process of this phenomenon of depolarization and repolarization, impulses can travel from one end to other end, or from one fiber to other fiber. And by this process, they can transmit message of stimulus to all muscle fiber. This is known as action potential. I would like to summarize it. There are two processes. One is resting membrane potential and other is action potential. What is resting membrane potential? Resting membrane potential means that during resting stage, your muscle sarcolemma has more outside positive, inside negative. And because of outside positive, inside negative, there is some potential that is known as resting membrane potential. But when you apply any stimulus, the stimulus can change the permeability of membrane. So all Na plus will come in and less 2K plus will go out. Because of Na plus will come in, 2K plus will go out, inside will be more positive, and this process is known as depolarization. It means that your impulse come from outside to inside the nerve fiber. Now, because I have told you nerve fiber, muscle fiber is around 30 centimeter long. So it should travel throughout the length of muscle. Suppose here it can cause depolarization, outside negative, inside positive. So it will travel here, and at this side, outside negative, inside positive. But what happened to back? Back will again regain the original position. It means outside positive, inside negative. And this process is known as generation of action potential, and it travels rapidly along the through whole sarcolemma from one area to other area. I have told you the length of muscle fiber is around 30 centimeter. And when action potential initiated, the action potential is unstoppable and ultimately result in the contraction of muscle. It doesn't mean if you release if you go for fire, when the bullet releases the gun, you cannot stop. Same as when you have initiated action potential somewhere in the muscle fiber, it will travel all along the length of muscle fiber. Clear? If you want to stop, suppose I can stop the action potential in the mid of fiber, you cannot. When you have generated action potential, it will travel all along the muscle fiber. This process is known as depolarization or action potential. Now, what happened to those places from where a stimulus has traveled? Suppose if I am traveling like this, suppose I am coming here, this area will be depolarized. Then I am coming here, now this will be depolarized. So what happened about the back area? Back area will again repolarize. Repolarization means regaining the same polarity that was maintained in resting stage. That means outside is more positive, inside is less positive. That process is known as repolarization. Immediately after depolarization, wave passes, the sarcolemma permeability changes again, Na channel close and K channel open. K channel diffuse from cell, restoring the electrical polarity of sarcolemma. It means when your impulses passes from one area to other area, that area will stop the Na channel and open the K channel. So inside will be more negative in comparison to outside. So again resting membrane potential will be maintained, and this process is known as repolarization. We can explain all the, you can see the figures, everything is clearly explained in the diagram. Repolarization occurs in the same direction as polarization and must occur before the muscle cell can be stimulated again. Can be, what does it mean? Repolarization occur in same direction as depolarization. Suppose if this is a length of muscle fiber, initially you apply any stimulus here, this area will be depolarized and impulses will enter inside. So impulses will travel like this. So impulses will come from here to here. So this area will be again repolarized. If you want to depolarize this area, suppose you have applied stimulus here. This area is depolarized. Stimulus entered, travel to this area. When stimulus reaches here, now this area should be repolarized. If you apply any stimulus to that area which was, it means if you apply any amount of stimulus over the depolarized area. Depolarized means change permeability, remember it. If you want to depolarize any area which is already depolarized, whatever stimulus you will apply, it will never depolarize. Clear? Like when you are eating something and you have full of your mouth, whatever speed you have, if your mouth is full, you cannot go for second bite. First you should release whatever you have in your mouth, you should go to the stomach, then you can take other bite. Whatever delicious food you are having in your hand, you cannot eat because your mouth is full of the food. Same as here, if any portion of nerve or muscle is depolarized, you cannot depolarize that again because there is already depolarization. So whatever stimulus you will apply there, it will not depolarize. I have told you earlier that for depolarization of any area, we should apply a stimulus of desired level. But like a person is crying, a person is weeping, clear? By if you are slapping one slap, he start weeping. When he is already weeping, whatever you do, or you apply 4 slaps, 5 slaps, 10 slaps, he will again cry. He will not have any other response. The ionic concentration of resting stage is stored by NaK plus pump. Now you can think why there is more amount of sodium outside the membrane and less amount of K plus inside the membrane even at resting stage. So there is some force acting which is maintaining this ratio. The outside should be more positive and inside should be less positive in resting stage of the muscle or nerve. This difference of ion is maintained by the active sodium potassium pump. Now we will discuss the mechanism of muscle contraction. I have told you about the depolarization. What are the forces? Which can bring signal to the muscle? Now the signal has come to the muscle. Now there is a muscle chance to get response. Because I have told you, nerve brings the signal. Nerve brings the signal by action potential and resting potential. The signal will travel all along the nerve. Now it will, nerve you can see that in the diagram it is the axon. Axon come, if you apply any stimulus anywhere, it will come down to the level of your dendrite. And from nerve, the signal should go to the muscle. What happened? At the nerve end, there are pouches known as acetylcholine pouches. When those signal reaches to the level of that pouch, acetylcholine pouches, they will stimulate them and acetylcholine releases. And because of release of acetylcholine, it can depolarize the nerve muscle membrane, and muscle membrane become, they are ready to get contracted. Now we will discuss what is the mechanism of muscle contraction. Muscle contraction. What is muscle contraction? I have told you about the force, about the stimulus, how it comes to the muscle membrane, that is sarcolemma. Now I will discuss कि after getting signal from the nerve, how muscle respond. Muscle contraction. It is known as, muscle response is known as muscle contraction. Muscle contraction can be placed into two categories, involuntary as well as voluntary. Involuntary means the contraction, the movement which is not under our control. Voluntary means the movement which are under our control, like blinking eyes. You are blinking your eyes. At regular interval, your eyelids down and closing your eyes. The blinking of our eyes is not under our control. It is involuntary movement. Same as movement in our intestine, intestinal wall, movement in our liver, contraction of liver, they are not under our control. The movement performed mainly by smooth muscles are not under our control. The movement performed by cardiac muscle like heartbeat, they are not under our control. So the contraction of muscle which is not under our control is known as involuntary movement, like blinking eyes, heart pumping, movement of GI system, movement of liver, and the movement performed by our skeletal muscle is voluntary movement. Suppose if we want to move our hand, we can move. If we want to drink water, we can use our hand, we can move our body. By having full control over our skeletal muscle, we can perform any movement. So mainly muscle contraction is two types, involuntary contraction as well as voluntary contraction. Involuntary contraction takes place automatically at a spinal cord level, often without any action, decision made by your brain. It means your brain is fully controlling, your involuntary movement. If you think I should have dysentery, you cannot. It is totally controlled by your brain. When your brain feels you should have this type of problem, this type of movement in your smooth muscle, it will. If your brain doesn't feel, it will not. But what are the voluntary contraction? Voluntary contraction are caused by conscious decision made by the brain to initiate. What is the difference between involuntary and voluntary? We have seen both movements are controlled by brain, involuntary or voluntary. But what is the basic difference? In involuntary movement, you don't have any role. You think I can do, so muscle will do. You think I should not do, muscle will not do. Brain is a controlling organ, but in involuntary movement, brain is doing by its own. You don't have any mind. Brain is different thing, mind is different thing. Brain is different thing and mind is different thing. So in voluntary movement, your mind, your thinking will support you. When you think I should move my hand, you can move. When you think I should not move my hand, you cannot move. But in involuntary movement, everything is under full control of your brain. There is no thinking, there is no time, there is no decision making to perform any movement. And what is the role of, what is the importance of involuntary movement? We cannot live without involuntary movement, like heart pumping. Heart pumping is not under control. Now I will tell you what is the functional characteristic of muscle. First functional characteristic of muscle is excitability or irritability. What is excitability or irritability? The ability to receive and respond to stimuli. We have discussed before action potential. The muscle has the property of irritability or excitability. It means when you apply any stimulus, it will irritate, it will respond. Muscle has a property of responsiveness. Whenever you will apply any type of stimulus, any type of threshold of desired level, of required level, it will respond. Okay, it is not dead structure. When you apply anything, it will respond accordingly. Second property, second function of muscle is contractility. First is excitability or irritability. Second is contractility. What is the contractility? The ability of short forcibly. What is contractility? Ability to shorten forcibly. Muscle has ability to shorten forcibly. One muscle can shorten by 60% of its original length. So all muscle, all skeletal muscle has property of getting shortened, and this property of shortening is known as contractility of muscle. Third thing is, the most common word is extensibility. What is extensibility? The ability of any structure to get elongated. So muscle has property of extensibility, irritability, contractility, and third is extensibility, and fourth thing is elasticity. What is elasticity? Elasticity means ability of muscle to come back in original position when you stretch it. Clear? So they have property of elasticity. The muscle has four properties: irritability or excitability, contractility, extensibility, as well as elasticity. Now I will tell you by contracting muscle, what is the purpose of contraction? By contracting muscle, muscle can generate force. Force of muscle contraction is affected by, what is the main purpose of muscle contraction? By contracting itself, they are generating some force over the bone, and by generating some force over the bone, they are able to move the bone, and when you are able to move the bone, you can move the bone according to your wish. Suppose if you want to stand on your floor, your legs are, the knees are straight. When you want to sit down, your knee is going to bend. These both movements are possible because of muscle, because of force generation capacity of muscle. If you don't have any force in muscle, muscle cannot have any control over bone, and when muscle will not have any control over bone, bone can go anywhere. It will not in your control, so you can either fall down, you will not be able to get erect, you will not be able to walk, so and vice versa. Clear? So muscle is the main force generating organ in the body. Clear? So how muscle force generation can be affected? How muscle force generation can be affected, or in other words we can say how force of muscle contraction is affected. First is by number of muscle fibers stimulated. Clear? I have told you the basic contractile unit of muscle in anatomy. I have told you it is muscle fiber, which is made up of actin and myosin filament. And I have also shown you in the diagram there are thousands of fibers are present in muscle. Thousands of fibers are present in a single muscle. Sometimes we need to perform light work, we need less force generation. Sometimes we are going to lift heavy weight, we need force generation. So even with force generation as well as contractile body, when we want to contract a muscle, we can contract. When we want to lift heavy weight, we can lift heavy weight. When we want to lift light weight, we can lift light weight. It means that muscle, especially voluntary muscle, they are fully under our control. Clear? They are fully under our control. It means that when we need less force generation, we should stimulate less number of muscle fiber. When we need heavy work to perform, we need to stimulate more number of muscle fiber. In next chapter we will discuss what is motor unit. But here I will tell you, motor unit is a structure combination where number of muscle fiber are supplied by one motor neuron. I have told you muscle and nerve both can work together, both will work together. Without nerve, muscle is waste. Without muscle, nerve is waste. The main function of nerve is bringing signal either from brain or from other areas, and main function of muscle is responding to that signal, So how these things respond, how muscle responds? By making a functional unit known as motor unit. Muscle can respond to the nerve by making a motor unit. What is motor unit? Number of muscle fiber supplied by one single motor neuron. Number of muscle fiber supplied by one single motor neuron. Like you can see in the, we are using some smaller bulb for decorating our houses. There is only one wire which is supplying current to all bulb, smaller bulb. If you switch off the button, all will not work. If you switch on the all will enlighten. Clear? It means all. Suppose a chain of that bulb has 100 bulbs, smaller bulb. All bulbs are getting current from one wire. So you can imagine motor unit like that. The number of muscle fiber, suppose 100 bulb or 100 muscle fiber, and one wire is one neuron. So one neuron is supplying to different muscle fiber by branching. Okay, this is known as motor unit. So one muscle may have number of motor units. One muscle may have, suppose a muscle is composed of 10,000 fiber. It may have 100 of motor unit. It may have 50 of motor unit. It means 50 muscle fibers are supplied by one motor neuron. Other 100 are supplied by other motor neuron. So what is motor unit? Number of muscle fibers supplied by one motor neuron. So when you want to generation of more forces, you should recruit mean you should use more motor unit to generate force. When you want less work to get performed, you should generate less motor units. Clear? Depending on the recruitment of motor unit, your force of muscle contraction will be decided. Less motor unit are recruited, less force. More unit are recruited, more force. Second thing is relative size of fiber. We are discussing the force of contraction, factors affecting the force generation capacity of muscle fiber. First factor is number of motor units recruited in the particular work. Suppose if I am trying to lift this laptop, I will use a smaller or less number of motor units. But if I am going to lift this whole podium, I need to recruit more number of fiber. Like if you want to make big building, you should appoint more laborers. When you want to do less work, you should have less labor. So motor units are less like a functional labor of our muscle. They are different labors. When you want more work, more labors. Less work, less labor. Second component which can affect the force generation capacity of your muscle fiber is relative size of fiber. Size also matter. If you are using smaller size of motor unit, they will perform less work or less force. When you are using larger size motor unit, you can perform more work. Clear? So all motor unit doesn't have constant amount of muscle fiber. All motor unit doesn't have constant amount of motor or muscle fiber. Some muscle fiber have only one nerve supplying only 20 fibers only, like your facial muscle, like your finger. Those muscle which needs precise movement, like eyeball movement. The muscle which is controlling your eyeball movement. The muscle which is controlling your eyeball movement. So all movement which need very fine movement, all fine movement, like finger muscle. Finger muscle are having a smaller size motor unit. What is small size motor unit? It means one neuron is supplying only few muscle fibers. What is large motor unit? One neuron is supplying number of muscle, maybe 100, 200, 1000. Okay, we will say it is large. It is a large motor unit. So larger fiber produce greater force. Regular exercise causes muscle fiber hypertrophy. How can we make fibers larger? Fibers, first thing is more number of fibers. Second thing is more healthy fiber. If you appoint 100 laborers of 50 kg weight, lean and thin, don't have energy, they are working, and in other construction site you can appoint only 20, but they are stronger enough. So even 20 may be equal to 50. Or you can get another example, if you appoint 20 children to perform a one of 5 years age or 10 years age to perform a work, and same on other side you will appoint only 5 healthy young individual to perform that work. So that healthy young individual will perform better work than that child. Same as if you are recruiting more amount of fiber, more work. More fiber, motor unit, more force. Second thing, healthy fiber, larger work. Larger fiber, strong force. Small fiber, small. The first thing is number of motor unit. Second thing is size of muscle fiber can affect the force generation capacity of your muscle. And how can we strengthen our muscle fiber? How can we strengthen? By regular exercises, we can make that smaller fiber, we can convert those smaller fiber into larger fibers. Clear? Third is frequency of stimulation. What is the stimulation? I have told you, without stimulation you will not get response. Without stimulation you will not get response. Stimulus is, suppose this hand is applying stimulus and this is going for response. When I apply less stimulus, it will have less response. But if I increase my stimulus, this biceps will increase response. So frequency of stimulus is directly proportional to response. Force transferred from muscle to load, repeated stimulation produce sustained contraction, transfer more complete during sustained contraction. Frequency of stimulation means force transferred from muscle to load. Force transferred from muscle to load. Repeated stimulation produce sustained contraction. If you are applying same amount of stimulus, clear? So you will get same amount of response. Sustained mean there is no change. When your stimulus is same, response will be same. When you will vary your stimulus, response will vary. If you apply a smaller stimulus, a small response. A large stimulus, large response. Same stimulus and same response. Clear? Then next is degree of muscle stretch. Greatest force when muscle is slightly stretched. Greatest force. How can you generate more forces during muscle stretch? You all know, before going to any specific sports event, where we are going to play, before going to participating in the game, first we will stretch ourselves, then go. Because by stretching ourselves, we can increase the force generation capacity of our muscle fiber. So that it is common that we should all stretch ourselves to perform better. How can stretching is going to help? By stretching, it can relax muscle, it can warm up muscle, as well as it can increase the force generation capacity of muscle. We have discussed the role of muscle. Now we will discuss the mechanism of muscle contraction. How muscle gets shortened and how it gets relaxed. What is the mechanism behind that? We had discussed the different factors which can affect the force generation capacity of muscle. Now we will discuss how muscle gets shortened and what is the mechanism of muscle contraction and relaxation. The basic purpose of muscle contraction and relaxation is by contracting and relaxing, muscle is exchanging its nutrition. But along with this process, muscle is producing movement. So how muscle gets shortened? We can explain the mechanism of muscle contraction by a theory known as sliding filament model of contraction. If you remember the muscle anatomy of muscle fiber, I have told you the basic functional unit of muscle is sarcomere divided by 2 Z bands, and from both Z band actin filaments are originating. They are known as light band, and in between there is a thinner band. Thicker band is known as myosin. So what happened? Suppose this is your myosin and this is your actin. So when actin overlap myosin, muscle gets shortened. When actin go away from myosin, muscle will relax. Muscle contraction, muscle relax. Muscle contraction, muscle relax. So by this mechanism, sliding of one filament over other filament. This type of mechanism is known as sliding filament theory. One filament is actin, other filament is myosin. Both are sliding over each other, and by sliding over each other, they are going to get contracted and relaxed. And then how they can produce force? What is the mechanism for force production? We will discuss one by one in detail. During contraction, thin filament slide past thick filament. As you can see in the diagram, it is very clear that thin filaments are those filaments which are actin, and thick filament are those filaments which are myosin. And during contraction, thick filament slide past thick filament. Involve activation of myosin's cross bridges. If you remember the structure of myosin, it is made up with thread, double helix thread with some globular projection, and that globular projection, suppose this is your myosin filament, and there is 2 globular projections like structure, and downside is myosin, upside is actin, and that globule is going to attach with your thin filament, and they are responsible for, by movement of those globular structure, they are able to move the actin over myosin, slide the actin over myosin. Involve activation of myosin's cross bridges, increases overlap between actin and myosin, relax muscle, slide overlap, stimulate muscle, increase overlap. Okay? As there is more number of cross bridge will form, the muscle will generate more tension, more contraction force, more power. When there is less number of cross bridge will form, less amount of force generation by muscle. It means muscle shortening or contraction is because of sliding of one filament over other, whereas the muscle force production is because of formation of cross bridges between actin and myosin. The more cross bridges form between actin and myosin, the muscle will generate more forces. Less cross bridges will form between actin and myosin, muscle will generate less forces. And by this mechanism, muscle can generate force and get shortened and relaxed. How do filaments slide? Now I am telling you that actin is sliding over myosin. What is the mechanism? How this myosin is able to slide actin? They are not going to any union. They are just attaching themselves by means of some globular head of myosin originator. As you can see in the diagram, each myosin cross bridge attaches and detach several times during contraction. Suppose in normal resting stage, myosin is separate, actin is separate, okay? But what happened during contraction? They are coming closer and making some cross bridges. And during contraction, this cross bridges is moving like this and causing more sliding. One filament overlap or other, and it causes, see, the length of this is it, this amount. But when it is going down and down, down under this, the length of sarcomere is get shortened. Thank you. Each myosin cross bridges attaches and detaches several times during contraction. Retaching action generate tension. Retaching action generate tension. Thin filament propelled towards center of sarcomere. This is sarcomere and this in between portion is center of sarcomere. When your myosin cross bridges are pulling actin filament towards center, they will come closer and causes shortening of muscle. Occurs simultaneously in all sarcomere throughout the cell. No all cell of the muscle. Not all cells of the muscle. This process is going on only those muscle which is stimulated by neuron. The muscle which is not stimulated by neuron is not going to contract it. I have told you there is pattern of recruitment. When you need to perform a smaller work, lighter work, you need to recruit few motor unit of a muscle fiber. Suppose a muscle, any specific muscle, suppose you can consider quadriceps, hamstring, biceps, they are big muscle and they are having number of motor units. They are having number of motor unit. For some work they need recruitment or they need utilization of few motor units. So those neurons which are supplying those motor units will be activated, so only those fibers should contract. So sliding will occur only in those filament from which filament get stimulus from nerve. Your external potential has reached the level of synaptic cleft. From synaptic cleft, it will go to the sarcoplasmic retinaculum and releases the calcium which was present in that sarcoplasmic cytoplasm of Now your impulses will reaches to the level of synaptic cleft. From here, it will go to sarcoplasmic retinaculum and causes releasing of calcium ion which is present into the sarcoplasm of sarcoplasmic retinaculum and causes opening of calcium channel. Now calcium will be released from sarcoplasmic retinaculum. Calcium bind, after releasing the calcium from that retinaculum, it will bind to the troponin of your actin filament, and because of binding of calcium to actin filament troponin, it can alter the shape of that troponin TNC and causes blocking of action of tropomyosin remove. It means the tropomyosin which was present over actin filament, which is the main responsible factor for preventing cross formation, when your calcium will bind with TNC of troponin can cause blocking action of tropomyosin. So when tropomyosin will not work, your actin filament are free to bind with your myosin. So myosin head attached to thin filament, as you can see in the diagram, reattaching pulls thin filament toward the center of sarcomere. It means every time upside is your actin and every time attaching, reattaching, it will bring your actin filament more closer. Calcium actively, and when there is a complete contraction, that time calcium actively pumped back into sarcoplasmic reticulum and calcium signal and within 30 milliseconds. It means the whole contraction and relaxation period takes only 30 milliseconds. Tropomyosin blocked, reestablished cross bridge activity and relaxation. When calcium will go again in the reticulum, now tropomyosin will again get activated, and because of activation of your tropomyosin, it can further prevent the cross formation, and when there will be no cross formation, muscle cannot contract at all. Repeat requires additional nerve impulses. When you want to contract muscle again, you want next signal in same manner, in same way. So you can produce second contraction. Suppose one contraction and other contraction. So for every contraction you need different stimulus. When nerve impulses are delivered rapidly, suppose sometime they are giving impulses rapidly, muscle are contracting rapidly. When you are doing any impulses slowly, you are thinking I will move my arm or finger slowly. Clear? Sometime we want I can move my finger fastly. So by changing the frequency of discharge, when you are stimulating your nerve fiber faster rate, your muscle will contract fastly. When you will activate your neurons slowly, they will contract slowly. So by delivering the impulses stimulus rapidly, calcium level increase greatly, muscle cell do not completely relax between stimuli, contraction is stronger and more sustained. Suppose if you are seeing the fan has only 3 wings, okay? When fan is moving slowly, you can count the wings. But if the fan is running by its full speed, you will feel there is only one disc is moving, not 3 petals. Same as here, there is, if muscle stimulus speed is slower, you can see when muscle contract, when relax, when contract, when relax. You can differentiate between muscle contraction and relaxation. But if the application of stimulus is faster, that time the muscle contraction and relaxation is so fast, you cannot differentiate between muscle contraction and relaxation. So in this process, sometime you can feel muscle is tight, like you can get, sometimes you may get spasm. Suddenly you get up and you are not able to relax. You feel muscle is tighter. This is the sustained contraction. Sustained contraction, muscle is contracted but not getting relaxed. Okay? So because of higher frequency of contraction, the amount of calcium concentration is increased there. So we will revise the thing. Muscle fiber contraction, cross bridge attachment of actin require calcium, low intercellular calcium, muscle cell is relaxed, myosin binding site on actin are physically blocked by tropomyosin. I have told you, for removing the blocking action of tropomyosin, there should be at least, the amount of calcium should be at least 10 to the power minus 6 mole. If the amount of calcium over there will be less than 10 to the power minus 6 mole, it will not cause muscle contraction. Okay? What happens when person has high amount of calcium level? Calcium ion bind to regulatory site on troponin TNC shape change and causes muscle acting are exposed. Suppose sometime you can go for blood test of a person who has higher amount of calcium level, so he is having more amount of muscle contraction, he is not able to get relaxed. How calcium play its role in cross bridge formation? Myosin head is already cogged. Cogged means something, this is the one thread of myosin and other is one projection. So this is known as cog-like structure. Cocking fueled by hydrolysis of bound ATP molecule. What happened? This has ATP molecule. But from where? I am discussing the energy, from where the energy comes to bind these things. It has ATP, and before attaching, when it is going to attach, it will release one P attach, release, and because of release of one P, it will have some energy, and because of that energy it will bind to your actin molecule, and when it bind, it will again utilize ATP and come back to original. So the energy for muscle contraction and cross bridge formation comes from ATP. Myosin head attached to binding site. I am going to describe the mechanism from where energy comes from. Once binding site on actin are exposed, it means you have increased calcium level, and because of calcium it can deactivate your tropomyosin. Now your actin myosin is ready to attach with your myosin. Myosin head is already cooked. Cocking fueled by hydrolysis of bound ATP molecule. Hydrolysis means breaking of ATP into ADP and P. Once binding site on actin are exposed, myosin head attached to binding site. Approximately half of the myosin head on a given thick filament are bound to any given time. It means half of the myosin is going to attach with the actin filament. Once binding sites on actin are exposed, when binding site of actin are exposed to bind with myosin, there are power stroke. They are pushing it and bringing your actin molecule more closer. Myosin head pivots moving through 70-degree angle. It means, suppose this is the filament, this is cross bridge, angle is around 70, and at 70 degree it is pushing actin filament inside, and from where the energy come? By the hydrolysis of ATP, which is converted from ATP to ADP plus PI. Now it is attached. After breaking your ATP into ADP, your molecular glomerular head of myosin is going to attach with actin. It is contact. Now after attaching and power stroke, it can bring the actin myosin maximally to the center. Now you have achieved full contraction. Now you should get relaxed, because after every contraction there should be relaxation. So what is the mechanism behind muscle relaxation? Once binding site on actin are exposed, cross bridge detachment, new ATP molecule covalently bind to myosin head. Again, one more molecule of ATP will, initially what happened? Initially ATP was with myosin, break, produce ATP as well as energy, and because of energy it is going to attach with the actin. What happened during relaxation? One ATP again come, attach to myosin and break it to the ADP and ATP. New ATP molecule covalently bind to myosin head, myosin and actin dissociate. They are going to be separate, and when they dissociate, the bridge is break, actin will again go back and muscle will get relaxed. As calcium pump of sarcoplasmic reticulum, it is because of actively pumping the tropomyosin to the calcium. Tropomyosin is going to pump the calcium to that retinol from where it comes, and ultimately it will cause muscle relaxation. Okay, thank you.